Howdy, gamers. We got a game going on live on your computer. Isn't that crazy? Technology is wild these days. Anyways, the game we're bringing live to you today is a Super Metroid Item Randomizer League match between Wish of French Force and Lenophis of the Green Boomerang Fan Club. This is going to be an exciting race. This is a very fun week for anyone who hasn't been paying super close attention. This is full rando with random start location. So you'll notice the runners not starting at the ship. They are actually starting at the top of Gauntlet. So they do have to be careful to not accidentally fall through one side of Gauntlet instead of the other, since Morphball kind of has to be at one of the first few locations. And you see there, it was on the left. If one of the runners fell through the right, they would have been denied that Morph Ball. And the other item they get is Phaser, which is, nice. They could have skipped it, theoretically. Worst case scenario, maybe you'd reset for it since it just happened. But regardless, full rando, random start location. Unfortunately, this is not the most exciting random start location since it is right next to the ship and they're getting power bombs, so they can actually go to the ship if they want to. So, full rando. And the thing about full rando is all the items can be anywhere. Crazy. So, the runners will have a lot of item checks ahead of them. Some checks that normally you would not see runners make because they're out of the way and or don't have any major items in Major Minor Split, they will have to check because there's a chance that it is gravity. And as it turns out, you don't want to be the guy who skipped gravity in one of these races. Remember, the entire regular season is best of ones. Although you could argue the co-ops are best of two, since for most races it's the same two people doing the co-op races. But regardless, you don't want to lose. So ideally you want to play as safe as you can and check every item in your path, and that's what we're likely going to see Wish, I don't know which pronunciation is correct. That's what we're going to see the runners do. We're actually going to see Wish go to Bomb Torizo after finding that super missile pack at 230 missiles. He needed the super missiles in order to actually check the item, get past that pink door. Well, meanwhile, we see Lenophis going down and doing the Retro Brinstar checks already. Now, one thing to point out is that the Billy Mays room is potentially something that could contain the items they need. And the issue with Billy Mays this early is you need 3 power bombs to actually get through it. You need 2 on the way up and 1 on the way down. Now, if you look at Lenophis's power bomb count, he has 2. He does not have enough yet. So we will see if he finds a power bomb anywhere down here, or if he is just stuck farming the Zoomers for a 2% power bomb drop. Because either way, it is not going to be a fun time. Unfortunately, there's just a reserve tank, so maybe not what he's hoping for. And remember, Leno didn't go left and check Morph or the behind Morph items, so he does not have the power bombs to get anywhere just yet in this area. I didn't see what was at Bomb Torizo, but it looks like either we skipped it or it hasn't been tracked yet. Somebody in chat can help me out, hopefully. Oh, so Wish actually skipped the super pack to avoid fighting Bomb Trees. Are Varia changes on? I didn't realize that. Because I think the door would close automatically if that wasn't the case. Well, regardless, Wish deciding to skip that super pack to skip the Bomb Torizo fight. Whether or not the fight was actually going to happen, I'm not 100% sure, but he is going to skip it either way. And Leno does find a powerbomb pack at Alpha Missiles, so he is able to go check Billy Mays. And Wish is going to go there much earlier, so he'll catch up quite a bit, actually, just from not waffling around and debating on what to do next. That's an important thing for anyone trying to get into higher level randomizer action. Generally, commit to your plays. You don't want to. You want to spend as little time as possible not doing anything, because time spent not doing anything is not time spent doing anything. And as silly as that sounds, it is good advice to to commit to a play rather than try to overthink things and end up not committing to anything. It's also good advice for real life, but I digress. So Leno is actually going to skip that reserve tank that was at the beta missile location, as we did pick it up just now, so he'll have that item advantage. He will need to be a little bit careful in the Billy Mays area. There's another power bomb. So Leno, a little bit sad he didn't check this earlier, most likely, but obviously he had no way of knowing it was a power bomb. And I'm assuming he's going meme routes. So he wanted to check these two items last, since he is planning on exiting the area through this way. He does have an E-tank now, so he doesn't want to take too many free hits from these side hoppers. They do 80 damage, but as you can see, he took 2 hits from them, and he is still alive, so that E-tank helping him out a bit. He does want a little bit more health now, though, since there are some scary situations coming up. Leno actually skipping a lot of items early on, skipping that missile tank as well. I don't actually hate the play. I think missiles are generally pretty low value, especially once you have like 20 or so. But I am surprised he made it, to be honest. So far, the items at the bottom of Green Brinstar and Big Pink are not super useful, just some ammo, although you'll take the super pack up until you get Charge Beam. Looks like Wish may also be going meme route. He's at least checking the item, and it looks like he is going to follow Leno, so we aren't going to have too much route divergence. Remember that Wish has checked the Bomb to Rezo item, so Leno will have to go down and check that later. I assume he'll be doing that on his way to Wreck Ship, or if he's not comfortable going to Wreck Ship, Red Tower. So Wish will catch up a little bit from there. So we'll see how the execution goes for each runner in Big Pink. I think both of these runners are fairly close in terms of execution, so we shouldn't see the runners get too far ahead or behind each other. Leno has about a 45 or so second lead at the moment, just from a little bit better routing. Of course, he'll lose about half of that once he goes to check Bomb to Rezo, but we'll see how long he can keep that slight lead for. As we still haven't seen any major items just yet. A couple E-tanks, and obviously the Morph and Spazer they got very early on are pretty much it in terms of items that the runners, or in terms of big ticket items, I guess. Technically E-tanks are major items in Major Minor Split, but you're not really going to count them as major items in full rando. And that's a major item right there, the Varia suit at the wave gate. So hopefully Wish is able to get the wave gate fairly quickly. It's a little bit tricky without high jump if you aren't comfortable with the setup. We saw Leno get it, I believe, second try. So that's definitely what you want to see. Hopefully Wish is able to do something similar. So that Varia definitely hints that the runners are intended to go into Norfair first, which is really not what you want to see when you're doing meme route. Generally, finding a suit at all in Brinstar and meme route is really bad because you want the ship to have as many key items as possible. And finding a suit here means there is a lower chance that the ship has a key item, since one of the key items is already in your possession. So the runners might actually second guess themselves and go down at the... they're going all the way up to the ship. And they may go down into Red Tower instead of going over to the wrecked ship, both because they found Varia and because they haven't seen any other movement items that would allow them to get across the ship. I believe both of the runners are capable of doing a CWJ, but it will likely take them both a few tries, and that is a lot of time loss that they could avoid by not doing that. That was a little bit of a long-winded explanation, but basically what I'm saying is I am interested to see if they will actually continue to the ship after finding Varia, or if they will bail and go down Red Tower. Since finding Varia this early definitely hints that the logic wants them to go down first. And this is Varia randomizer, so when the logic is hinting at something, it is more often than not the only way to go. And both of our runners, Leno being very, very experienced with randomizers, and we literally developing this randomizer, should know that. And so I imagine we'll see both of them go down. Likely after checking the Criteria surface items and going into Red Tower, we'll probably see them both check Gauntlet as well. But I imagine we don't see either of them go over to the ship, unless, even if they find a good movement item in these last few Brinstar checks, I don't expect them to go to the ship. Obviously, it makes the play a little bit better, especially if it's Speed Booster, which opens up the Wreck Ship Reserve. But I would expect them to go down either way. So far, not much else has been of note for the runners. They found the Varia suit, which is a really nice item. Looks like Weish actually... Oh no, Weish has already... It was Leno who's already gone down to the bridge. I thought Weish was going to the bridge for a second time, as if he fell. But he's actually just getting here for the first time. My apologies. Leno is still holding on to the roughly 45-second lead that he had at the beginning. Actually going to skip that power bomb pack, which once you have 20 power bombs, getting extra power bombs isn't really that valuable, so I think that's a fine play. So Leno holding on to a slight lead for now. Like I said, he'll lose about 30 seconds for checking the Bomb Terizo item, but that shouldn't be too bad. He'll still have a slight lead over Weish, most likely. My favorite item? It's a great question from chat. And honestly, I gotta say Gravity Suit, because I think Meridia is fun, and Gravity Suit makes Meridia funner. Zulus Meridia is pretty fun though. Anyways, Leno has made it up to the surface of Criteria. We got a nice little synced door transition, even though they are two different doors. And so we'll see if Leno decides to do anything fancy, like check Gauntlet. I would expect him to check Gauntlet here with 20 power bombs, plenty of energy, and Varia Suit. It's a pretty safe check. And he can actually just bail out the front since he's already collected the items at the back of Gauntlet, since that's where he started. So I imagine we'll see Leno do that. He'll check the front and then bail and go back to likely down Red Tower, like I've been saying. So apparently he does have to fight GT, by the way, so Weish was correct in skipping that super pack, although it does mean he'll have 5 supers less than Leno, who's still keeping a pretty solid lead for himself, but it is a little bit smaller now that he collected that super pack and fought Bomb Terizo. So Leno is off to the ship. He's got a few options here. I imagine he'll check Gauntlet, like I said, but he can choose to skip the check. It is only one item, and it is a pretty time-consuming check. So it definitely wouldn't be a terrible play to skip the check altogether, but obviously it could potentially be a high-value item. It cannot be Gravity. You cannot have suits in Criteria, I believe. At least Criteria behind Moat can't have a suit. I don't know if the Criteria items in the Wreck Ship area can have Gravity. But Gauntlet cannot, is the important thing. But it can still have an important item. It can have Speed or Ice, it can have Charge, it can have Plasma, it can have High Jump. Obviously, all items with varying degrees of importance, but all items that will speed up Lenophis considerably and potentially allow him to complete the seed, since it is possible that Isoar speed is required and the other one is locked behind where you need ice or speed. But it is just a missile. Remember, this is full rando, so it's not even guaranteed that item is a major item in the first place. And Leno, we'll see where he goes. Obviously, he could go to Wreck Ship. I've been talking about the play going down Red Tower, but sometimes, even if it looks like the correct play, it's not always going to be correct just because of the nature of randomizer. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Leno just go to the ship, and it looks like that is what he is going to do. Remember, he needs to do a CWJ over the moat. That's a good first jump, actually. We'll see if he's able to get it first try here. Not quite. He had the lineup for it, but didn't quite hit the 2-frame window for the second jump. So we'll have to try it again, or actually he's just going to bail. He's going to go down to Red Tower. Okay. I actually don't dislike this play. If you get first try CWJ, then it's a nice route. You can go ahead and check most of Wreck Ship, depending on how comfortable he is with Sponge Bath without any movement items. He would have to use a Power Bomb to get through the room. But since he didn't get CWJ, he's just going to take the safer play, go down Red Tower, and likely take this all the way to Norfair. But if he gets a movement item in Upper Red Tower, he could potentially decide to go back into Wreck Ship. Looks like Weish is going to make the same play. We'll see if he bails after one try or not, as that is not the lineup you want to do to get the CWJ. Unfortunately, you can't do the backup HBJ like you'll see in New Route 90%. They will either get the CWJ or they won't get it at all. And Weish looks like he is committed to it. Remember that with the in-room setup, the 2-frame window for the wall jump itself is actually going to be a 1-frame window, so Weish has to be even more precise. Looks like he does get it. First try getting the lineup, actually gets the wall jump. So he is going over to Wreck Ship. So we are going to see some route divergence. I apologize for not really paying close attention to chat. I'm kind of commenting on a message that was sent a couple of minutes ago. But I am being informed that the suit restriction is off in this game mode, so Gravity could have been at Gauntlet. So that does make the play a little bit better, but obviously, as we know, it didn't work out, and it was quite a time-consuming check. So fortunately, both runners did it, so neither runner gained an advantage off of not doing the play, but there is definitely merit in skipping it entirely. So still no big ticket items just yet, besides this Varia suit. It's been all ammo, really. There haven't been any major items at all, outside of Morph's Phaser at the beginning, and then Varia suit at Wavegate. The seed is hiding the goods somewhere, but the runners still have not found out where. As Weish begins his Fantoon fight, Leno just about to start his Kraid fight. We'll see what's at the Kraid missile. It is a super missile, so Leno's actually very close to 60 supers. So the minimum ammo you would want to beat Mother Brain 2 without using, or Mother Brain 1 and 2 without having Charge Beam is 60 missiles, or 60 supers and 40 missiles. You would need 36 missiles to break the tube, and then 60 supers to deal with Mother Brain 2. But obviously you'd want a little bit more ammo than that, just to have some leeway. But Leno already has 50 missiles, 50 supers. I'm getting them mixed up, my apologies. But Leno, very close to having that ammo. Weesh also fairly close, and he'll get a lot of super missiles on his way down, since that's where Leno found a lot of his. I believe there was one at Spazer. I'm not totally sure if that's true, though. That might have been a missile. Leno doesn't quite hit the great quick kill. Looks like he hit a couple super missiles, though, so won't be too slow of a fight. Spazer actually causing him a little bit of pain, since the Spazer shots were wide enough to get intercepted by Kraid's hand, but still a fairly quick fight, as Weesh on his third round in Fantasy. There's another super pack, goodness. Yeah, Weesh not having the cleanest Fantoon fight of all time, but it is a fairly healthy fight. He's got various suit and plenty of health. And Fantoon should be pretty close to dead. Just needs one good Doppler here. Doesn't quite get it, but that's okay. Of course, Fantoon giving him a slow right after that. But this should be the last round for Fantoon. Just hit him with a super. Wish, please. Wish, please. Oh my goodness. Alright, everything's fine. What was that? Grady tank? I didn't see. Alright, so just missiles at the Grady tank. Thanks, chat. I was distracted by an unfortunate Fantoon situation. Well, there's the 60th super missile for Leno. Still haven't found any major items outside of the first volley from the seed. Maybe we'll find some in wrecked ship, though. Let's find out. As Weesh begins his wrecked ship item collection. And he's going to find a missile pack. How shocking. The goods are still hidden somewhere in the seed. Here's an E-Tank at Croc Escape. We'll see if Leno ever goes to pick that up. He knows he doesn't need it, but he might opt to pick it up anyways, depending on how much energy the seed gives him from here. He's actually going to save scum the ice check, which I think is a fine play. There's a second reserve at left side supers. Remember, there are two items over here. There is the ice beam location, and then there is the crumble shaft missile. That can potentially be a major item. Looks like Weesh is going to attempt to get through Sponge Bath. He will need to use a power bomb to propel himself up just above the surface of the water and over the ledge. You'll kind of see what I'm talking about here. Hopefully Weesh is able to get it. He needs to lay the power bomb right at the surface of the water and then do another jump so that he gets propelled. Leno's actually skipping that super pack. He's got so many super missiles that he's skipping them. Crazy. Unfortunately, Weesh is having a little bit of trouble here. He isn't jumping as soon as he needs to. And so he isn't actually getting propelled upwards by the power bomb. This is a very tight trick. You have to have very good movement. There's Gravity Suit, by the way, at the Crumble Shaft location. So this is bad news bears for Weesh. And Leno, probably, depending on how comfortable he is with Lower Norfair, with a relatively low loadout, and potentially what he finds in the rest of Upper Norfair, will likely take this all the way through to Lower Norfair and to Ridley. That does bring up a good point, though. It is possible Ice or Speed Booster could be at the wrecked ship. We do not know where either of them are, and the runners will need to find one of them in order to get through Batoon. Where will that be? Who knows? Did Leno check the cathedral item? I don't know if he did. Okay, it was just a missile fact. That's fine. Yeah, I think the problem is Weesh actually isn't morphing fast enough. So he's not morphing fast enough, so the bomb doesn't actually propel him upwards because he's still in the animation for morphing. I'm not really sure. It's really hard to tell what exactly is going wrong while watching it. It's more of a feeling thing. Like, you'll know when you're doing well while you're doing it, but when you're watching, it's so precise that it's really hard to tell exactly what's going wrong. But from what I can tell, either the powerbomb position is bad, like there's a few times that he's been laying it too low, or he's still in the morph animation while he is supposed to be getting knocked up by the powerbomb explosion. So screw attack for Leno at the speed booster location. We're gonna give up on this. Gonna hope that that isn't going to be an important item, most likely. He won't find gravity in order to get across that easier, unfortunately, since we know gravity is in Norfair. But it is possible he finds high jump or something similar in the tail end of Wreck Ship, and could potentially go back to check the item after that. We'll see what he finds. He is going to give up on it for now, though. Leno checking the wave beam. It is another missile. Personally, in this situation for Leno, I probably would have picked up that missile. He wants to get up to 40 missiles. Actually, I guess he doesn't need 40 missiles per se with the amount of supers he has. He does have enough ammo to beat Mother Brain pretty comfortably, actually. So maybe it's correct to not be picking up missiles here, but I personally would have done it, not gonna lie. Either way, not a major item, so Leno's not too bad skipping it. Unfortunately, doesn't quite get in position to get the D-boost over to the Norfair Reserve, so he's going to have to reset Bubble Mountain real quick. Does have screw attack, so needs to make sure he doesn't screw attack the enemy, and unfortunately, in trying to not screw attack the Waver, didn't quite get the D-boost in time. Didn't quite get in position, that is to say. So he might try this a few times. Actually going to turn off the screw attack just to make things that much easier. Actually gets a D-boost from the bottom of the room. I didn't know you could do that. That's actually pretty impressive. Kudos to Leno. That was nice. You see Weesh's problem with the earlier sponge bath strat. His mid-air morphs aren't the cleanest, it looks like. They're Space Gem too for Leno. Insult to injury for Wish. But his mid-air morphs aren't the cleanest, and you need to have really clean mid-air morphs in the sponge bath in order to get that powerbomb strat to go over to the Wreck Ship E-Tank. And so with that space jump that Leno found, he is going to be taking this all the way to Lower Norfair, it looks like. There's an E-Tank there. He'll probably pick that up on the way out. Or maybe he won't pick it up at all, who knows. But he still does need Speeder Ice. Leno has ammo to beat Mother Brain, and has Gravity, Varia, and movement items to get through Lower Norfair and the rest of Meridia, but does need Speed Booster or Ice Beam in order to actually get past Botwoon, or get to Botwoon rather, and complete Meridia. So, although Leno is very close to being go mode, his item hunt is not done yet. He'll likely be checking at least most of the item locations in Lower Norfair. Leash is going to have a real rough time here. Doesn't have the high jump in order to platform across these trippers, but this is the only way he can check the Sky Missile, so he will have to do it if he wants to check the item. Leno actually going to fight GT, it looks like. He wants to check the GT missile location, which is only accessible from this side of the room. Unfortunately, that means he will have to fight GT, but with this many super missiles, he should be fine. And there's a super missile in the sky for Wish. Maybe not what he wanted to spend all his time on, but better than it could have been. Just a reserve there for Leno. I suppose he could have just left. The door was blue, it looked like. I actually didn't realize you can just leave there, huh? I assume he can get out, right? Well, regardless. Just going to fight. Obviously wanted to check the other GT item as well, so skipping the fight might not have been the best choice, even though it didn't end up paying off, just finding X-Ray. It is a very quick fight with 60 super missiles. You only need about 29 to kill GT optimally. There's Grapple Beam. That'll help a little bit for Dragon. I suppose Leno wants that. But yeah, that's just one example of people doing things differently because it's full rando than they would normally do in Major Minor. Normally, you would not see people fight GT because there's really no reason to. It's just two minor items, and one of them takes a pretty long time to get, and also you aren't guaranteed to even be able to get it unless you have Space Jump. Actually, I think they changed that in the Varia Randomizer where you can activate that statue without Space Jump, but regardless. It's not generally a worth check in Major Minor, but in full rando, that can be a major item. That could be Speeder Ice for Leno, and he would be in a very rough position if he just skipped the check entirely. And it happened to be Speeder Ice. So, just one difference from full rando to Major Minor. Leash is going to be leaving the wreck ship a little bit dejected, only really finds that wave beam and still doesn't know what's that wreck ship E-tank because he wasn't able to get the tricky sponge bath strat in order to get across to the item. Oh no, Leno's fallen all the way down. Amphitheater, I think this room is. There's a lot of rooms with very similar names. I don't know why we decided to do that as a community, but you know. I believe that's Amphitheater. Regardless, he's got the gravity suit and the space jump, so he is able to just get out of the acid pretty quickly. If he didn't have gravity, for example, that would have been very scary since you would have had to deal with acid physics trying to make his way up the room. Fortunately, he's just fine. Gonna skip that missile pack. We're skipping missiles as well at this point. He's not gonna skip that super missile. I thought he was for a second, but that is definitely not something he wants to do. So both of the runners are doing well on ammo, but unfortunately, still looking for that one last item. Wish still needs gravity, but he'll likely find that pretty quickly. in Upper Norfair. But Leno still just looking for Speeder Ice. I don't know how comfortable he is with the Crystal Flash clip that you can technically do there. Obviously, he would want either bombs or Spring Ball in order to do the Crystal Flash clip to Botwoon, since you do need to be in midair. But I don't know how comfortable Leno is with the trick in general. I don't think he is, but I've been surprised before. So I don't think that'll come up, but if it does, I wonder what'll happen. As Ridley is looking rather dead. And a good fight for Leno. Let's see what his rewards are. Just an E-Tank. He is going to pick it up, though. So, this item has been really stingy on major items. Honestly. There were a few in Upper Norfair, but still nothing fantastic. They don't really have a ton of luxury items outside of this Space Jump Screw Attack combo, which, to be fair, is maybe the ultimate luxury item combo, since it allows you to go through the room, or go through the game very quickly without worrying about any of the enemies. But still, no other movement items, not many other beams, Charge, Ice, Plasma, all still MIA. And we will see what else the seed holds, but there aren't a whole lot of spots that Speeder Ice can even be at this point. There's Wreck Ship E-Tank, there's X-Ray, there's all of the front of Meridia, and then Criteria Power Bombs. There's not a whole lot left for Leno. Once he finishes checking Lower Norfair and Crocomire, he doesn't have a whole lot of choices for where Speeder Ice could be. And so we'll see which direction he chooses to go, of course. Hopefully he just finds the items before needing to make that decision. But you never know. I'm kind of surprised he picked up that Powerbomb pack, actually. I'm not sure if he meant to. We do have a second crate stand-up over here for Wish. So he's getting close to his 60 super mark, and he has a few more missiles than Leno does, so once he gets that 60th super missile, he is going to be a little bit more comfortable, actually. Leno knows that the jail power bombs are just a missile pack, so he doesn't need to go through the maze. There's one more item in Lower Norfair right here. This Three Musketeers missile. It is Spring Ball, so I was joking about the Crystal Flash clip into Botwoon, but it is technically a possibility with the Spring Ball. I don't really know the Spring Ball setup. I only know the bomb setup, and I don't know if Leno's really comfortable with either, like I said. But that does make it possible. I believe Leno is already in ammo go mode, by the way. He would need to kill and refill the Zebs a couple times, so I imagine... I'm kind of surprised he's not picking up a little bit more ammo, personally, but... regardless, he can defeat Mother Brain 1 and 2 with this ammo. as he is not having the best time of his life getting this gate glitch over to Croc. He actually has space jump, so he could take the other way across the grapple hallway. I don't know what that room is called. It's not grapple hallway, that's for sure, but the southern route to Lava Dive, I don't know what the room is called. You grapple across it, so I'll call it grapple hallway. Regardless, Leno does get the gate glitch, so he'll be okay. As he is headed down to Crocomire. He didn't actually farm all that much ammo for Croc, and he doesn't have Charge Beam, but he should be fine. Weesh is going to find his gravity there. We'll see what he does with it. To be honest, I think that it's kind of doomed for Wish. Unless Leno soft locks or dies somewhere, I don't think Wish really has an angle to come back. But we'll see how he decides to route from here. Obviously, you need to play like you're going to, or like you can still win, because people make mistakes, even if it's very unlikely. You always have a chance to win, no matter how far behind you are, pretty much. But it is kind of Leno's race to lose. So we'll see where Weish decides to go from here. It looks like he is going to go deeper into Norfair. Not going to gamble on a Meridia play. Which, this is the correct decision, of course, but when you're behind, you tend to make a lot of not objectively correct decisions just in case they end up being correct for the seed. And in this case, Weish could potentially bet on the idea of no movement items being in Upper Norfair, and so there's no good way to get up to Lower Norfair. It wouldn't be a terrible gamble, but obviously it's not true. And Leno actually finding high jump at Croc, so Croc made it even easier if Weish decides to go there first, which wouldn't be a terrible gamble either. No one has checked X-ray yet. That is correct. So it is possible and getting increasingly likely that that is the place to be. Alright, Leno is going to pick up that super pack. I agree with this play. He's got 70 supers, and he skipped a couple. Could have 80 if he was picking up all the ones he saw. Oops, Spring Ball being a little bit trolly for him. And so there's one more item in Upper Norfair, this cosine missile. And it is, I didn't see what it was. I believe that was just a missile, though. Obviously, I guess not obviously, for anyone who didn't see, he already checked the Crocomire escape item, and it is an E-tank, I believe. So not what he's looking for, but he'll probably pick it up on the way out just to get to that clean 7 E-tank position. So we will see where Leno decides to go from here. The most obvious choice would be to go to Meridia, but remember, he hasn't checked Wreck Ship. He doesn't know that it's pretty much empty, aside from Wreck Ship E-Tank. We don't know what that is yet. And there are a couple other scattered checks he can make. He can go to Criteria Power Bombs. He can go to X-Ray. There's probably another one somewhere that I'm not thinking of. I think those are the only two, though, if he's not going to Ship or Meridia. Since he doesn't have speed booster, he can't check like criteria supers or waterway. I imagine we just see him go into Meridia though. And with how he's entering this room, I think that suspicion is confirmed as he is going to break the 2, and he is on his way into Meridia. He can't check the Main Street missile, excuse me. He is going to check what the item is, though. It is just a missile, so nothing interesting. And just a power bomb of crab supers, so neither of those are items that he needs to waste his time on. So he's going to go straight to Mama Turtle. Does have the high jump and the space jump, so checking this is pretty quick. He's going to skip that missile there, but there is the missile in the wall that could potentially be something, and that's the... Is that the last reserve tank? We've definitely seen 3. I don't know if we've seen 4 yet. Yeah, Leno is definitely not planning on doing the Crystal Flash clip since he's wasting super missiles. I don't think it's a trick he's comfortable with, but it is technically a trick that could get him through Batoon without hunting for any more items. He's still got plenty of checks. He's got both sand pits. He's got up here in the Oasis. He's got Shack Tool even. He can technically snail clip into Aqueduct. I don't know if those are in logic, but he can do it. There's still plenty of item checks left before Leno needs to resort to Crystal Flash clipping, and it looks like Leno's in it for the long haul. He wants to find everything. That includes speed or ice beam. I'm surprised he's not picking up that super missile, but is picking up that E-tank. Okay, he is picking up the super missile. Never mind. We're having a little bit of trouble with this D-boost over to the reserve location. Looks like he's going for a later setup where he doesn't go for the first possible place to deboost, and he's actually going for the second. Unfortunately, he's not doing a very good job in getting it. Looks like it's a trickier setup, actually. It looks like the waiver is higher up than it normally would be if you're doing the first setup. Alright, so Leno is going to save here. Nice deboost from Wish, he does get it. Leno is going to save scum the sand pits. He'll probably check... I think the fastest way to do this actually would be to check the left and then check the right and go to Shack Tool. He does have Grapple Beam to get to Shack Tool. Looks like he's going to snail clip first things first. Just needs to wait for the snail. And unfortunately, that's just a little bit too high for the snail, it looks like. So he's going to try to do it on the other side. And that's still not quite good. Now the snail's a little bit too low. So it looks like Leno is going to wait for the other snail. The snail has to be in a very precise position. I don't know if it's pixel perfect, but it's very close to pixel perfect if it's not. And he gets it. We'll call it first try. Because it was the first time he loaded the room. There's his charge beam, so... doesn't need to pick up any ammo anymore. Of course, he's still probably going to be doing an ammo kill on Mother Brain with just charged phaser. I don't know. That's actually not a super helpful item at all. He is going to save, though. Doesn't want to do the snail clip again. And does still want to check the sand pits for speed of rice. I think checking the left sand pit first is faster. Looks like Leno's going to check the right, though. Don't think it really matters. It depends on if he wants to check Shack Tool here or not. And sandpit number right is a bust. Looks like Leno is going to check Shack Tool before he resets his save. Since this is very Rando, the odds of something being at Shack Tool are significantly higher because the logic can just decide that sandpit is required. Or not sandpit, Shack Tool is required. So we will see that check from Leno. So I hope everyone's having a relaxing Friday afternoon. Or I suppose Friday evening for anyone in a European country. I suppose if you're in a East Asian country, then it would be early Saturday morning. But point is, whatever time of day it is for y'all, hope y'all are having a very cozy time right now, watching some Super Metroid randomizer action. It's been a fun race, even though it's been pretty one-sided. It's actually just going to be a missile at Shack Tool. I'm pretty surprised, honestly. It's been a pretty one-sided race so far. Weish is just doing a lot of the things we just saw Leno do, and unfortunately, since he spent so much time checking Rex ship, he's going to stay behind as long as he's doing what Leno's already done. So it is not the most competitive race ever, but has been a good experience. It's been a very tricky seed. Still haven't found go mode for Leno 50 minutes in, despite finding Gravity and Varia by 20 minutes in. We have not seen Criteria Power Bombs yet, no. That is one of the possible locations that Speeder Ice can be. And it looks like there's the Ice Beam for Leno. And that is go mode. I would be very surprised if Leno checks any items from here on out. He's got Charge Beam, Charge Ice Phaser isn't the greatest item combo, but he also has 75 super missiles. He can very easily just ammo kill Mother Brain. So he doesn't even really need to hunt for more ammo. The only item that we'll likely see him pick up is the Batoon E-Tank item, and that's because there really isn't a good way to skip it without having Speed Booster. So he'll pick that up. It's technically possible to skip. You'll see that skip done in like low percent ice, but there's really no reason to 2 in randomizer, and it's kind of tricky. I imagine we'll see Leno just pick it up. His ammo is actually pretty low. He might not have the most comfortable Batoon fight ever. But that's okay. He's got Charge Beam, so he won't soft lock. They'll just have a bit of a slow fight. So we are on to Batoon. Technically, Leno can kill Batoon with just ammo if he lands all his missiles. I suppose he only needs 18 missiles if he lands all his supers. But landing missiles on Batoon can be very tricky because the hitbox is not the greatest. Does a good job hitting most of them early on, though. I believe he's hit 18. I'm not totally sure, though. So he could just use super missiles for the rest of the fight. Unfortunately, misses a few supers, so he's going to have to resort to charge shots. Actually going to line up on the right side of the room instead of the left side, which does not give him the same invincibility, I believe. But he is able to beat Batoon relatively quickly. And he is on his way. There's a missile pack. Like I said, Leno doesn't want to skip it. It is technically possible by going slightly under the sand and going around it. But It's not that bad. Just to get the extra item fanfare, it's not that much slower, and it is a lot easier. Plus, an extra missile pack is actually kind of nice for Mother Brain 1, since, like I said, he doesn't really want to use any charge shots if he can help it on Mother Brain, since he has the ammo to just kill her outright with ammo. And so, as chat points out, I don't know why Leno even checks that item, honestly. But as chat points out, there really is only one big question left for this seed, or two big questions that might potentially have the same answer. That is, where was Speed, and what was that wreck ship E-Tank that Wish wasn't able to pick up? This is very possible that was where the speed booster was, and if that's the case, it's real sad for Wish. He would have had a much faster go of things. Could have potentially gone into Meridia early and cleared that. Would have been able to skip pretty much every check as soon as he found the space junk. And while I don't know if that would have allowed him to catch up to Leno completely, it would have made the race much closer, as Leno has spent a lot of time just checking items, trying to find speed or ice. Unfortunately, Leno doesn't get the quick grapple kill. Not gapple kill. Doesn't get the quick grapple on Dragon, but he does get a nice grapple in eventually at the top of the room, and so Dragon has been defeated. Leno just has Phantoon left. And that's where Leno is going, up to the wrecked ship. Looks like he's gonna meme a little bit, go the Forgotten Highway route over to the ship. I believe this is slower than going up Red Tower, but it is more fun just doing a route that you normally don't see. And obviously, Leno's far ahead enough that it shouldn't really matter. But it is technically slower for anyone wondering why you don't see people usually go this way in Rando. Even if you're checking Plasma Beam, it's still faster to go up Red Tower than to go Forgotten Highway if you're going to Phantoon, unless you want to check the wreck ship E-Tank. Which, with area changes, I think actually is active in this randomizer. I believe area changes are on because the Bomb Chorizo fight initiated. I don't know. My knowledge of what exactly the area changes are relatively limited, I won't lie. So I'm kind of spitballing here. But point is, don't go this way that Leno's going. It's slower. So he is going to get to check wreck ship E-Tank if he so desires. I don't know why he would, but it's open to him. So we do get to see the Forgotten Highway. Funny story about this room. You see that fish that was just on Leno's screen? It actually spawns partially in the wall. And the only reason I bring that up as if it's relevant is because I personally spend a lot of time with the enemizer that Total made a while ago. And there are a lot of enemies that if they spawn in the wall, the game crashes trying to load them. And so that room crashes a lot. which again isn't that relevant if you're just doing Enemizer, but obviously if you have any other shenanigans going, then it can cause problems because sometimes that room is required to go through. So there's your fun little tidbit of knowledge that will not help you in any way unless you run exactly Enemized or Rando. Alright, I have no clue what's happening in chat, but I think I'm being blamed for something. Unfortunate. You know who's not being blamed for something? Our lovely tracker, 2D Tones. Doing a great job. I think he's kept a lot better track of this race than I have, so shoutouts to him. As usual, the trackers in this tournament have been fantastic. I have not had any problems personally, and I can say, as somebody who's done a lot of both commentary and tracking in Season 1, tracking is hard. So shoutouts to the people who can do it good. And 2D Tones, definitely one of them. So, Leno has defeated Fantoon. A bit of a cleaner fight than what we had, but like I said, it doesn't matter too much at this point. A lot of this race just came down to the play to go check early wreck ship, which unfortunately did not pay off for Wish. Which, to be honest, is kind of what I expected. Generally, when you're doing meme route, sometimes you really want to go to wreck ship, since the route is slower unless you're going into wreck ship than standard, so you might feel pressured to go there. But once you find Varia, especially in Varia Rando, where the logic is defined a lot more than other randomizers, that really tells you that the next logical progression is going to be somewhere in Norfair. And as we saw, the gravity suit was pretty early on in Norfair. So it's kind of unfortunate how things happened. But obviously there still could have been something good in Wreck Ship, and as it turns out, it was pretty much empty. But that is just kind of something to think about with Varia Rando. And unfortunately, it led to a relatively one-sided race, as the person who went down was able to find gravity much faster and didn't have to waste time checking all of Wreck Ship. There's the speed booster, by the way, in X-Ray, so we were kind of right. X-Ray was the place to go. It just so happens that left sandpit was also the place to go. So the only major item that could have been a Wreck Ship E-Tank was Plasma Beam, which would not have really helped Wish very much, since I don't think he'll be picking up charge. Since he already has that screw attack, he's not really going to care too much about not having Plasma. I'm kind of surprised he completely skipped Crocomire, it looks like. He didn't pick up that high jump anywhere. I believe that was in Crocomire. I think that was at Croc PBs. So he actually kind of beelined it straight to X-Ray after finishing Lower Norfair, and that ended up being right where to go. So he does make up quite a bit of time over Leno, but like I said, not going to matter too much. We should actually make it fairly close, but it will never be competitive unless Leno has unless something tragic happens. I don't know what we're just doing checking this item. Just wanted to show off the spark, maybe. And as somebody who goes for the spark at the bottom of Main Street all the time, even when it doesn't matter, I can confirm that it feels so good to get. So maybe that's what Weish is doing. I would not blame him for it. Also, chat, giving a good point. Weish's ammo is not actually enough to kill Batoon yet. So we'll likely see him farm a little bit here coming up. There's a nice little farm spot over here. He's actually going to get his charge beam, so maybe he won't need to farm. I'm kind of surprised he's checking these items, though. But he is going to find his charge beam, and so he won't need to worry about ammo anymore, so likely he won't take the farm spot over in this sand pit room to the right. He's just going to go on ahead. Lano having a little bit of trouble on the Zeb skip. Doesn't necessarily need to do Zeb skip. He does have plenty of ammo, and he does have the charge beam, so it would be fine not doing it, but it looks like he wants to get it. Having a lot of trouble with it, though, actually. You know, I'm kind of surprised Weish didn't go for any X Factors on Batoon. Those are cool. Oh well. Lano gets the Zeb skip. I believe... Oh, did he just shoot a super into the tube? Actually, it looks like he's going to do a very high super Mother Brain 1. Just going to do 9 missiles and 9 supers, although I believe he shot a 10th missile. So what I expect to see Leno do is shoot his ammo until he has 14 supers left, and then use some charge shots until a catch-up phase starts for Mother Brain 2. That is traditionally what we'll see from high ammo plus charge kills on Mother Brain 2. It's actually going to go to 15. I think 14 is technically correct, but it doesn't really matter that much. So he only needs a few shots. Charge Ice Spazer do not do a whole lot of damage, but doesn't need that many shots overall. You see he only needed about a dozen. And now he is done with Mother Brain 2. I think he's going... I don't think he's going to get stand-up glitch with this health. I'm surprised he was able to stand up with that health. I thought you needed to be below 200. Huh. Neat. Okay, so apparently the window to do stand-up glitch is a lot bigger than I thought it was. I'm not really sure why he's going for stand-up. He can't really do a whole lot of damage, but it is pretty safe. He does have the X-ray to get him out of the position where he gets locked at the foot of Mother Brain. But he's only going to save a few Hyper Beam shots with this beam combo. Still, he's going to do it just for the little bit of time save it gives him. It's relatively low risk. Like I said, he's got the ability to get himself out of the stand-up position if things went wrong, and he just needs to make sure he doesn't accidentally John lock. Which is fairly easy, just don't have a shot held when the game gives you Hyper Beam. Looks So he did a good job. You can see Mother Brain didn't really have a noticeable effect from all of those Charge Ice Phaser shots, but it is a little bit of an effect. Did a bit of damage to her. And so he'll be happy with that. Leno just needs to go through the escape. Unfortunately, Leno doesn't actually have speed booster, so he will have to do the slower escape. Won't be able to spark up this room or up the climb. So he'll be doing some vanilla movement, I suppose. If you will. That's not a great description since speed booster is literally a vanilla item, but you know. More traditional movement, I suppose, is the word I'm trying to use. Instead of using these fancy shine sparks. I'm gonna do the left side wall climb. Nice. In home stretch, unless Leno gets steam locked. That's definitely a thing. Trust me, don't look it up. He will be finishing with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 7 seconds. So, GG to Leno. We'll see if he joins in for an interview. Looks like he is going to join us. So, welcome, Leno. GG on the race.
GG, thanks. Speed had to be in wreck ship, or
nope.
In ocean mid. No?
Nope, no. It was an X-ray.
I went right by it. That's okay. Yeah, I thought about checking that on my way to wreck ship if Meridia turned out to be nothing. I'm just kind of glad that Ice Beam was where it was, because that was convenient.
Yeah, so how are you feeling about how that seed played out? Maybe besides not finding speed.
I mean, Charge Beam was in an interesting spot. I'm kind of glad I know Snail Clip, because otherwise it would have been, do I pick up a couple more missiles that I've been skipping just for the Zebatites, or do I just kind of go with it? And kind of glad Charge Beam showed up. It would have been really nice if Wave or Plasma had shown up, though.
Yeah, we still do not know where Plasma was. Wave Beam was deep in wreck ship, though, so I don't think you were going to be getting that.
Probably not. I'm guessing if Plasma hasn't shown up, it's probably at Vanilla, at Plasma. Because that's the only spot in Meridia I didn't check. And if it's not deep in wreck ship, then I don't know where else it could be.
Well, there's like Waterway, a couple other speed lock locations, Criteria power bombs. I guess we'll see in the credits in just a second.
Yep.
But yeah, Vanilla Plasma is pretty likely, it feels like.
Actually, wreck ship energy tank, according to the credits.
Oh, well, that was... Yeah, we actually went to wreck ship early, but he wasn't able to get the... he needed to get through Sponge Bath with power bombs, and he wasn't able to get the power bomb jump.
Oh, it's horrible doing that with power bombs. It's absolutely horrible. It's absolutely horrible.
Yeah, unfortunately, Weish gave it a couple tries with 20 power bombs and wasn't able to get it. So, did skip that. He got Charge Beam really late, so I imagine he's not too sad about not getting the Plasma Beam, but glad we know what that item was, I suppose.
Yeah, between that and Wave Beam, those are the only two major items I think I was missing.
Yeah, it was definitely a high clear percentage seed. There were a very late ice beam. Kind of meant you had to check everything.
Yeah.
So, what are your
And
thoughts
obviously,
on? I'm sorry, I'll let you go first.
I was just gonna say, yeah. I mean, at that point, I was just looking for Ice Beam or Speed Booster to be in go mode. In terms of the seed, it was pretty interesting. Top of Gauntlet was kind of a nice starting spot. It's really bad if you fall down one side and not collectively both, because then it's GG's, pretty much.
Sounds like you may have some experience doing that in practice, maybe.
Oh, yeah, a little bit, yep. Finding Spazer effectively your only useful beam for the entire run, that was nice, because running Power Beam is bad and should feel bad.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on this logic, the full rando with random start? So I think it's definitely can be exciting
It can be, but it's also a little railroady. So I did 2 practice seeds earlier in the week, and I ended up forfeiting both of those because my required progression was at Ocean Missile, and I skipped it both runs. And I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. How do I skip this spot twice? My first practice seed was Wreck Ship Save with your Morph Ball at the Wreck Ship Energy Tank, which I guess is open in this logic if you start there.
Yeah, there's some
power
weird stuff like that.
Like the Chozo and Lower Norfair, that's open if you don't have space jump no matter what. I guess that's kind of a nice thing. I was obviously checking that anyway just for possible required progression. And it turned out that it was just a reserve tank down there. Thanks, Trash Can. Yeah, and then the second seed I was practicing yesterday, and my gravity suit was at Ocean Missile. I'm like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. That's twice in a row. I forgot to check that. And those who know me know I accidentally missed that twice, so I was actually going to check that for the memes for this run, but I don't even know what it was. I think, did Weech check that by any chance?
Did he check Ocean Missiles? I assume he did, but I don't remember what was there. It wasn't a major item, though, I can tell you that.
Okay. Yeah, if he made it to Wreck Ship early. I mean, I tried the CWJ once, but I wasn't going to bang my head against it. After going essentially going meme route, yeah, give the CWJ a shot. I got the first jump, missed the second jump. Like, okay, not going to bother with Wreck Ship for now. We'll come back to it later if we need to.
Yeah, it was actually a really interesting early game because you actually both did meme route and then split off at ship because we got the CWJ.
Okay. How many attempts did he give it? Because that CWJ, that one, you could spend 30 seconds on it. You could spend 10 minutes on it, and you will either get it or you won't. It's really dumb. There's consistent setups for it, but it's still a double pixel perfect jump. Which is...
Yeah, we actually got it like third try, I think. The first time he got the setup for the first jump, he got the second jump, so he actually did it pretty quickly. And then unfortunately, Wreck Ship was pretty much empty outside of the plasma, which he wasn't able to get.
Oh, that's unfortunate. That is unfortunate. Like, I had that thought in the back of my mind, like, okay, Wreck Ship, I'm not too sure about what the logic dictates for this. So I wasn't sure when Wreck Ship was going to be in logic. Like, I don't know if a CWJ puts it in, or if you need a secondary helper item. Like, so I just kept that in the back of my mind. And I'm pretty sure the snail clip on this level is probably not in logic. I don't know. Like, I'm not fully up on what the logic dictates for the Varia site stuff. They do a lot of SMZ3. So I know what the logic dictates there, but here not so much. So I'm just kind of going with what I think is probably right. Eh? Question mark?
Sorry, I was memeing in chat. Can you repeat the question?
No, I was just pointing out that I don't really know the logic too well when it comes to Varia stuff. I'm more of a SMZ3 guy. Like I know the logic. I kind of helped write it, but on this one, it's like I don't know if Snail Clip is in logic. I'm not sure if CWJ is in play. Do you need like a secondary item? It's
I
just
don't
kind of
think
touching.
I don't think Snail
Yeah,
Clip is in Logic, but you'd have to ask Weesh, I guess.
yeah. Like
Or
I
Tracy.
know Weesh, a developer of this randomizer. I know that not going to be an easy out. There's no easy out. I mean, this has been a brutal. A lot of people have had brutal schedules. Like people you'd expect to win ended up going over the first 3 weeks, and people you'd expect to lose are somehow going undefeated. Like, what the heck is going on here?
Yeah, I definitely think the more creative game modes are definitely impacting things, and I think it's a good thing personally. I think it's making the league a lot more
I
exciting.
I do like that too because your heavy hitters that you'd expect to win, they're not winning like you would expect them to. That just makes it a lot more interesting. Like your sleepers are definitely going to play better, and it just makes them for a more exciting season. And that's what I'm hoping everyone's enjoying so far.
Yeah, and I guess the last question is, like, I think you've kind of already answered this, but in a situation where you didn't find various suit in Brinstar, like, would you have given more attempts to the CWJ? Or, like, say you didn't find Varia but found a movement item, would you have given more attempts? Because I feel like once you find Varia in this logic, it feels so much safer to go down into Norfair because of how much more defined the logic is. So I feel like in general, once you see Varia, it's just better to go down. But I want to kind of hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Like, if you have any amount of movement, check out Wreck Ship. I mean, at worst, you'll find out there's a required item at the reserve tank, and you have to come back for it later if you don't have speed. But clearing Wreck Ship, I know a lot of people, especially on Varia, they don't like clearing Wreck Ship because it's such a time sink. Well, how is that any more of a time sink compared to full clearing Meridia or full clearing Lower Norfair? You have items all over the place. It's either you invest the time to do it or you don't, and it either pays off or it doesn't. And sometimes it pays off, and sometimes it doesn't. So it's kind of a gamble either way. I'm personally of the opinion that if I have the ability to check Wreck Ship, I will check Wreck Ship. It just kind of depends on what the seed is kind of telling you to do here. Like in this case, the seed was saying go down. Your Varia suit was early. Your gravity suit was a wallflower missile. So like, okay, that is immediate, almost immediate lower Norfair access with space jump at the Norfair reserve. Like, okay, automatic lower Norfair, just do that, and then just work your way up from there.
All right. Well, we do have Wish finishing in second place with a time of 1 hour, 21 minutes, and 23 seconds. So him finding Speed Booster fairly early after completing Lower Norfair did allow him to catch up a little bit, but unfortunately the Wreck Ship time sink ended up being too much for him. As well as I think he just generally executed better, Leno. So Wish is going to finish fairly close. So GG to him. We'll see if he joins for an interview or not.
Yep. GG Wish
is the race. So while we're waiting for Wish to potentially join for an interview, I'll of course say to follow our lovely runners, Lenofis and Wish. I don't know how to pronounce the second half of his name. I'm not going to pretend I do. And you can follow me in 2D tones because we're cool. Sometimes. Not usually, though.
All the time. All the time. Don't kid yourself. It's all the time.
All right, we're cool all the time. You're right, Leno.
Well, I think we got him.
And we are joined by Wish. So, GG, how you feeling after that one?
Hello, not really good. I didn't play really well, in my opinion, but yeah. If something was in Red Ship, maybe it would have been different. I don't know. What did you do, Leno?
I attempted CWJ once, failed it on the, like the middle jump, and then just decided, okay, I'm not going to bang my head. I'm just going to go down. And items just kind of started to fall into place. So I guess that kind of worked out in my favor.
Yeah, if you went down, I was wondering something. Was it mandatory to do the deboost to an alpha reserve to get space jump and to get washroom in the game item, or would you get
I believe
bombs somewhere? Yeah. Okay.
Bombs were. I forget where they were already, but they. Oh, that's right. Bombs were at Crocomire. Bombs
Oh, so
and
that was that. Okay.
bombs and high jump boots were both at Crocomire, so you could have done that potentially to get to the space jump boots.
Yeah, or just use high jump in lower Norfair. Okay, so there was some possibilities. And ice beam, I see you got ice beam.
Yep, ice beam was in left sand pit. That saved me. Because it was wreck. It was wreck ship after that.
I was after exiting lower Norfair. I mean, after wreck ship, I failed 45 times or something like this in a sponge bass, whereas I got it in 2 tries in practice just before. But yeah, that's just how it is. And I went exiting Norfair. I skipped Croc and I played like I had to do something different maybe, and I went to X-ray and there was speed there. So I was go mode after this, and I was planning to do something stupid like Shack Tool or something if my go mode item wasn't there.
I checked Shack Tool. He was a missile. That was unfortunate, especially with grapple beam being at the screw attack. That was kind of pointing me in that direction. Like, okay, I was still looking for go mode. I needed either speed or ice, and ice popped up first.
Oh, right. Okay, so that was I thought it was a really linear seed, but there are some possibilities actually, like ice beam and speed in different places, and space jump and ice jump also. So that was interesting. After all, I would have preferred a different start, to be honest, because Gauntlet is just like a standard seed. So
right, you're gonna be upset when you find out what's that wreck ship energy tank. Yeah,
maybe.
I mean, yeah. It was plasma beam. It would have been useful, but not what you were looking for, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I could have done without. I did without actually. So I had like I don't know 70 supers or something. So.
Oh, this seed was full of supers. I ended up skipping like 3 or 4 packs in the end.
Yeah, me too.